Hello everybody, this is your favorite non-muscle man, JB Dumb, and today I'm covering Palworld. This is a game that recently came out of early access, and it spiked again in popularity. With an average of close to 1 million concurrent players for the month of July, this is a game that truly rivals juggernaut titans of companies like Nintendo. 30 million copies sold with over 40 million players worldwide. Those are numbers for Nintendo's latest Pokemon release. That's Palworld's numbers. Nintendo's 2022 Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold just under 30 million copies per Gemini. And Nintendo's latest Pokemon release, 2025 Pokemon Legends ZA, sold under 15, closer to 12 million copies. 2025's Pokemon game sold half as many copies as Palworld did so far, so no wonder they tried to shut it down. Even worse for Nintendo, they just lost the lawsuit against Palworld's developers Pocket Pal. The Japanese patent office even told Nintendo they were reaching and rejected their claim. That means Palworld is finally fully released in July 2026. For the month of July, Palworld almost always had 1 million people currently online playing. A population larger than many states and countries are always online grinding out Palworld. The effect is palpable. Palworld's innovative take on the essence of animal and human subjugation is clearly masterclass. At least 30 million people bought the game because Nintendo couldn't do the job. The conglomerate got comfortable and decided that re-releasing the same game over and over again was good enough. That is, until Pocket Pair showed up. They showed up and straight up took Nintendo's lunch money. The sales for Nintendo's mainline title was cut in half after Palworld came out. I bet Nintendo execs were fuming. Until now, all anyone had for portable Monster Collection gameplay was Pokemon. And until pretty recently, most of the mainline Pokemon titles all featured the same gameplay loop. The jump from Pokemon Scarlet's turn-based gameplay to Legends ZA real-time is all because of Palworld. Before that, it was the same JRPG loop all the way back from Pokemon Blue and Red. Palworld is definitely a better version of third-person action creature collector right now, but Pokemon just got lit a fire that they gotta put out. They aren't gonna be able to do it through legal matters, so that means they're just gonna have to make a better game to win us back. They don't have it quite yet, but the drastic measure and honestly desperation mean that Nintendo has the potential to bounce back and give us a better Pokemon. In the world of AAA gaming, Nintendo is the company that I choose to redeem themselves. In a class alongside names like Blizzard, EA, and Ubisoft, Nintendo stands out as the one company that can really put out quality. Palworld was a necessary step for the gaming market and audience. They evened the playing fields to force innovation and ideas. It isn't enough to rehash and lazily put out money grab routine releases. It takes fresh takes, ideas, and pivots. Nintendo could have made their own reimagined Pokemon series long ago, but they weren't motivated or pressured to. Palworld is the spark to reignite gaming creativity, able to rebalance the gaming market to make it better for the consumer. You're telling me that Palworld is a better gameplay experience and it's less than half the cost of a Pokemon title? Why wouldn't everybody choose to play Palworld over Pokemon? Especially when it's available on all platforms and easier to get into. Nintendo just lost their claim on the creature collection genre, and they're getting beat out by a game that actually games better than Pokemon. Pokemon is a behemoth, and gaming isn't their entire portfolio, but selling only half the titles you expected to has to hurt. The courts decided that Pokemon has to compete in a fair market. Palworld isn't getting shut down, and they gotta deal with it. Palworld is a better developed game than Pokemon, and it just came out. It's only gonna get better from here. We can only hope that Nintendo starts to put out better Pokemon games, and that the entire industry follows suit. I'm a World of Warcraft fan, and I got tired of Blizzard putting out the same WoWs over and over again. There's nothing new about the game, just a fresh coat of paint over the same mechanics and treadmills. Players eventually leave to come back for the next expansion, but burn out quicker than the last time. We leave and come back again and again, hoping for something exciting to remind us why we care so much, only to be disappointed again and again. It reminds me of how Pokemon fans feel. I went through Pokemon Yellow, Gold, Sapphire, Fire Red, Diamond, Heart Gold, and maybe a few more before I got tired of it. I noticed that there was nothing ever new about the game. All of the gameplay systems were the same, and they just swapped everything's skin. There was no good reason to play the newest one over any of the others. So many, myself included, stop or become less frequent to the product. But when something new and fresh and innovative comes out, it becomes clear to the market. Palworld versus Pokemon, Blizzard World of Warcraft versus their private servers. It's kind of a parallel situation. Unmotivated and unenthusiastic production leads to underperformance. The underperformance leads to passion and development from the product's biggest fans, which lead to restrictions and action against the fresh take. I understand the corporate stance because they stand to lose market share, but I'm just a gamer who wants the best games. It's not coming from Nintendo or Blizzard, so I guess it's gotta be the independent teams. When corporate gaming meets the upstart independents, Blizzard and the corporate establishment side always win. Nintendo usually always wins. Palworld was also supposed to be shut down, but they came out on top and are one of the biggest gaming successes of the past decade. They squared up against Nintendo in the gaming and legal ring, and they got theirs and came out better. This is a story of an underdog putting everything on the line to defend their status. They did it against one of the biggest Goliaths in the global market industry. They did it to change the course of gaming's direction. Winning in the courts against an unstoppable entity like Nintendo is game-breaking. Game-changing, actually. Game-changing to Palworld becoming the biggest creature collection game in the world. Game-changing to the effect of Pokemon potentially becoming the game fans want. Game-changing to the effect of bringing more people total to the market of monster taming games in general. I wouldn't mind if Blizzard lost their cases against their private developers. They're the ones that are free and unrestricted to put out fresh and risky ideas. It's the same deal with Palworld and Nintendo. If Palworld was shut down 2 years ago, Nintendo would be putting out the same status quo games, and everyone would have to deal with it. In this timeline, Palworld won, so gamers won. Getting a brand new hit title like Palworld and potentially better Pokemon games in the future, Palworld is only gonna get better from here. Hopefully Pokemon will too. In the end, this is a success story for gamers and the market as a whole, so I don't see how anyone but Nintendo can be mad about the results. The community and Underdog are big winners, while Nintendo has to provide better competition. That means lower prices and better games. I personally wouldn't mind if Palworlds started coming out across all genres of games. This is JB Dumb, and I'm hoping that small, agile, independent development teams start putting out their ideas. I want us consumers to be able to have the best games to play and make content on, and I think Palworld surviving Nintendo is a big step. Palworld wasn't intimidated going against the empire of Nintendo, and they actually stood their own. Palworld is an IP all of its own now, and it'll exist alongside and be compared to Pokemon forever. Unless Nintendo can make a better Palworld than Palworld, from now on, Palworld will be the Gary to Nintendo's Ash.